Welcome back to another episode of Eyes Up Here. I'm your host, Lindsay Palas. Long time no listen. This is your favorite tri-annually, I hope that's the word, tri-annually podcast with yours truly. No, if you're watching this or listening to this, I'm also put up on YouTube, so there is a video accompanying it. Anyway, hi guys. Long time no talk. I have just been through it in life, through it. I don't know if it's like, I think I'm definitely at that, like, in my 30s age where I'm realizing, like, whoa, this place is a mess. This stuff is crazy. Life is crazy for me and, like, every friend I know. It is very thrilling, though, I gotta say. But it does, I don't know, I just feel like I'm a 35-year-old woman, okay? I can run for president. Everybody watch out. There's nothing she can't do at this point. But, yeah, I'm at that age where I'm like, whoa, this is serious. I'm definitely getting the theme song of Friends where your job's a joke and you're broke and your love life's DOA. Like, that's how life really feels. But it is very fun. I got to say, I think life is more fun than ever. I feel like I am more me than ever. Really excited to catch up and, like, say hi and tell you where I've been and hear where you've been and et cetera, et cetera. But first, let me just tell you, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, I just want to say, I love that you're here. It makes me feel very warm when I see 4,000 people watched YouTube or like 8,000 people watched. I freak out. To me, and you would think having you know a lot millions of people follow me on different platforms that I wouldn't care, but I do care because I feel like YouTube, it kind of reminds me of Twitter where it's more of a connecting force, and here looking at me is one thing, hearing me speak and enjoying it and engaging with me, that means like a world to me. And so I just want to let you know, like, it really makes me very happy, and I just want to say thank you. And I've like enjoyed it, even though I can't get them out as well as other people yet. Yeah, it's just been like really fun, and I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys, well, I'm like, where do I get into the tea? I plan to take you on a vacation this summer. So I want to go somewhere with someone fun and do something cool. I'll tell you all about that plan. Well, you know what? I'll hop into it. Basically, I booked a flight to Ibiza. I'm meeting a girlfriend. I'm going there. I haven't booked a return flight, but please don't tell the airline agencies that, because you know how sometimes you get there and they want to make sure you have a return flight. That happened to me once, and I had to book a thing on the spot, and I almost peed my pants. So I really just don't want to book the return flight, though, because I might want to pop over and gonna make a little trip to France and go to Paris and Saint Tropez as well. That's going to be fun. Why did I book this trip? Well, I'm going through a breakup. Woo! That's going to that woohoo is really going to contribute to everyone thinking I'm crazy. I'm in one of those breakups where I'm definitely like, oh, this person's going to make people think I'm crazy. Like, that's hate. Very much a lot of women have that experience where if you're dealing with someone who's got I don't want to say anything like straightforwardly negative, even though they're true. But when you're dealing with someone with a certain type of behavior, they've got to make you look crazy. It's like a part of the package of the way they treat you. And so I know I'm in that, like, I know I'm going to be painted as crazy, even though I'm very much not. I'm very much aware and with it, and I took notes and I paid attention. Yeah, so I'm getting out of a relationship. I was dating someone for about a year, which for me is the longest relationship I've had in 5 or 6 years. I dated someone in 2018 for 2 years, and I think that was one of the worst experiences of my life. However, one of the most impactful experiences of my life. Sometimes I think in life we have choices to repeat patterns of our parents or repeat unhealthy dynamics. Or we can say, screw that. I'm going to learn better. I'm going to do better. I'm not going to settle for this. And I'm going to move on and book a flight to Ibiza. So that's more my personality type. I am resilient and I am tough. And I will love hard. And I'll get my heart broken really, really hard. But I don't take it as a loss. I take it as living. I'm always proud when I choose my own self-esteem, or I choose a healthier pattern, or I choose the line or the direction that I deserve better. And I really do. I will say something interesting about being 35. Okay. At 35, I'm realizing a lot of people, every decisions catch up. Okay. So if you're in your 20s and you're watching this, you really like need to heed my advice and my warning. Decisions catch up. The self-work you didn't do will show. The work on your health you didn't do will show. Work on your interpersonal skills and relationships and emotional intelligence will show. The work you did on your money management or money, any type of business acumen will show. And yeah, I think that stuff, it gets important because I feel like I'm at this age where some people's work is showing and a lot of people's work is not showing. And they're kind of at this very uncomfortable stage where I think a lot of people I know, their life isn't where they thought it would be. And I think it's kind of furthering poorer decision making, poorer relationship choices, poorer career moves, poorer, honestly, like addictions and like, what is that called? Like they're choosing things that make them feel better because of the work they didn't do. The point is, I do think life keeps a score, and the work. It's easier to do work on yourself than to cover it up and mask it, in my opinion. Speaking of, yeah, and speaking of too, like, and that's what's something about being in your 30s. I feel like, unfortunately, I'm disappointed seeing a lot of people. There's a lot of excuse making, and not that everyone doesn't have trials and tribulations, but I feel like I see a lot of excuses, and excuses, they are real, but sometimes they don't serve us. I highly recommend everybody reads Jack Canfield's 67 Principles of Success. It's very simple. That guy wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, by the way. Interesting dude. But that book, the very first principle is you take responsibility for everything that happens to you, no matter what. Everyone should just at least read that chapter. I think that's the only one I remember from the book, but I will remember it for a lifetime because it is a freeing thought. It makes you capable of doing anything. And yeah, everybody just lock into that. Anyway, I'm inspirational Barbie going through a breakup. I have so much to tell you. Let me tell you. Okay. But before I get more into the tea and another book recommendation, I also just read Dopamine. This is a bestseller by Anna Lembke, Lembke. She is a doctor, I guess a doctor of psychology. I'm not exactly sure. I should know that, but I don't want to psychiatrist. Okay. Because sometimes I get them confused. But she has a very, very interesting perspective and opinion that life does require discomfort and pain. And she does believe that sometimes we over medicate, and sometimes we kind of look for quick solutions to things that require like more of doing the work or more of experiencing heartache or pain or whatever. Kind of like the breakup I'm going through now. Because what I could do is go drink a bunch of alcohol, and I could take some medication, and I could go do whatever. But I think it's healthier to sit in it and learn from it and read a book about it and alchemize it. Look, I'm talking to you guys. I'm putting out a podcast and trying to connect in a more favorable way because something went wrong for me. So like that kind of stuff, I don't know. Yeah, great book. That's just where I'm going to go. I hope this makes any sense. It's going to be really fun when I edit this because I haven't done this in a while, and I just pulled this out of my butt today. I really shouldn't say I've pulled anything out of my butt. I don't think that's appropriate. But anyway, so I was dating this person. I will say very, very hot. Very hot. What I can't stand as a grown up too, is sometimes I see people who are down bad for someone who's mistreating them often, and they're not even cute. I'm like, what? If I can break up with like, this guy was like a model, and like a model that they pulled off a street like 20 years ago, and now he's even hotter. If I can break up with someone who looks like literally pretty, like I will be enjoying myself just looking at them. Like that's how pretty they are. If I can break up with someone like that because I don't feel like it's right for me, like you can definitely break up with someone who's not cute. I don't know. Is that messed up to say? But I don't know. I don't know. Come on. If they're not even cute, you're so lucky if they're not even cute, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe it's just for me, though. Like, beauty really does. I really do appreciate beautiful people and beautiful places and beautiful things. So, for me, beauty is it's a luxury. It's not a requirement, but it is a luxury that I do not like having to give up. But I do. I'll give it all up. I'll give up companionship. I'll give up security, or like a sense of security. I'll give it all up if it means keeping my self-esteem intact. Your self-esteem really needs to come first in life. You need it for everything you do. If you want to do things, if you don't really want to do that much with your life, or like you kind of you're interested in something more chill. Maybe you don't want the most ambitious career. You don't want to collect as much knowledge as you can, you don't want to try new things or take new risks or make new friends, then maybe it doesn't matter as much. But if you are highly ambitious, your self-esteem is major for everything that you're going to do. When you're in a bad relationship or someone isn't treating you the way you deserve or that is disrespectful, you're sending a message to yourself that you're not good, you're not worthy, you're not important, you're not special, you're not beautiful, you're not smart, you're not interesting. And by the way, most of these relationships, those messages become overt. I was told, amongst other things, I was egotistical, manipulative, a nobody. I heard all these nasty things that are not true. And this kind of stuff, like, it will erode your self-esteem. And I don't think any ambitious person, and if you're not as ambitious, like, whatever, I don't know, maybe I don't know that perspective. But if you really want to take as much out of life that you can, and you really want to like suck the joy and happiness and thrills and challenges and triumphs and heartaches and heartbreaks and victories, like, you need your self-esteem. It's like the most important thing in the world. Okay. So why am I ambitious? Like, why am I like, what is it? Like, why am I like Mel Robbins Barbie right now? Or like, who's that other guy? Who's that other dude? Is it like Ted something? I can't even think. Maybe I should have wrote a script for this, but I don't know. Wouldn't that be like a little less fun than just going for it? But no, I'm just feeling, I don't know. I am sad that I had a relationship that didn't work out for sure. But there is another side to that coin where I'm so proud that I chose self-respect. I'm so proud that I was honest, even in a room full of people where they didn't see what I saw. Like, that takes courage. It takes bravery. That takes like a sense of self. That takes strength. Like, so yeah, I'm sad that the relationship didn't pan out or it wasn't what I thought it was. But I'm so proud that I made good decisions. Like, that makes me feel good. Like, training yourself. I just feel like training yourself to make hard decisions is so important. And that brings me back to the part about people in their 30s who you see the work they did or didn't put into themselves. It's like that. I think with relationships, there's also an element of you should be disciplined. Discipline is being, don't deserve that, I won't put up with that. Or discipline is being honest with yourself when something's going on and everyone's convincing you it's not. It's a whole bag. Okay, let me get into some other stuff. Pretty much, so I went through a breakup. Oh my God, and my puppy died. I don't know if we talked about that on here yet, but losing Tosh was really, really, it was so sad. But the way he passed away was very, very, I don't know. It was still, even in the moment of death, I felt a lot of love and connection with him. And even after, and I still do. So I will still talk to him like he's my little baby and he's around. That was a really significant experience in my life because Tosh was 15 or nearly 15. And that is a big chunk of my life. That's like my adolescence to now. And I feel like that's why I think 35 is so cool, because it's really, we're adults. Feels a lot more of an adult position in my life. And I just feel, losing him at this time seemed so almost just poetic. But very sad, very rough experience. I didn't appreciate how I was treated during that time. And I think that contributed to the relationship ending for sure. I kind of knew I'll never be able to look at that the same. Yeah, losing my puppy was interesting. And I had a lot of this interesting grief where I wasn't actively sad. I would think about him, but not in a thinking sad way. But I had this underlying grief where I was just there's just like this underlying sadness going on. I felt a little bit just no joy in anything. I could tell I wasn't making jokes anymore. I could tell I wasn't smiling as much. In fact, I was so sad that I remember I was taking a shower and I got a whiff of this. This is going to sound crazy, but I was taking a shower and I got a whiff of this really nice soap and it made me smile and it brought me joy just because like I said, I enjoy beautiful things. So a beautiful smell, it was like my body reacted to it. And I was like, whoa, like that happiness, I haven't been feeling that. I know that sounds weird, but if you have been in a depressed state or if you have been down, that's kind of how you know is actually if you get a fleeting moment of happiness, you kind of need the juxtaposition of that. So when you get the fleeting moments of happiness, you're like, whoa, I haven't been feeling that at all. That feeling is so foreign that it stands out. So I realized that, I was pretty deeply sad. And the relationship was eroding my self-esteem. I had some other things going on. I had some security stuff. Unfortunately, with any type of, I don't want to use the word celebrity, but any type of public figure, even public figure. I had issues with security since I was a child. I would always have like people. I worked as a cashier at a Winn-Dixie. And I had creepy customers, and I was the type to be followed, and I've had to call the police on people following my car and things like that. Like, I've been through the ringer with that stuff. So when you have to do with security stuff, it takes a lot of your attention because survival comes first in the human brain. So you have to make sure you're alive first before you can accomplish anything else. So there was that I was going through, and then I made a major life decision that is wonderful and amazing, and I'm going to tell you about it one day, but I got to keep it under wraps, but it will be tea. I cannot wait to tell you. This is like the weirdest list of stuff. If you read this, you would be like, what the hell? I also want to tell you guys, I filmed a podcast maybe like 8 weeks ago. I filmed a podcast with Christian, and I'm going to put that out after this. So if you see this, they're backwards, but I did a podcast all about kids. Do I want kids? What was I like as a child? What I think about the dynamics of parents and children these days. I do say my opinion. I don't think it's provocative, but it is honest. And it is from the perspective of a child of multiple divorces, a child who was the stepchild, to a lot of people. Not a lot of people. It was like 3. But still, that's 3 too many. It was a lot. But I explained that. And I think it'll help you guys like kind of understand the person I am. Because I will say growing up as a representation of the person someone else hates is not fun. Now that I'm an adult, I can kind of really see how, because I think now that my friends are at this childbearing age or they're all having kids and they're having kids in different circumstances. And even I've dated someone with a child. Like now that I have that experience, I'm like, oh, this is probably how these people thought, especially knowing that my step parents likely didn't pursue mental health treatment or like, they didn't study psychology. They didn't have any kind of EQ for that. So yeah, that's some tea. But that episode will come out after, and I'll share it with you guys. And I think you're going to find that pretty interesting. But so we talk past, Tosh passed. I get out of this relationship. I'm here now. I'm very excited for the summer. I'm very excited to be single too. I think that I really love this person, and I was really excited about the relationship, and I put a lot of time into it, or at least what I thought was a lot of time and energy. And I kind of excited to have that back. I'm excited to have my weekends for myself. I prefer like a healthier lifestyle. I do like to party here and there, but I'm much more of like binge drinking maybe once a month max. I don't want to go out and get wasted all the time. I don't want to sit on the couch all day under most circumstances. Like I prefer kind of healthy activities. I like a museum. I like to read. I do like to lay by the pool with a cocktail. That's a different story. But I like to hike. I like to go for a workout. Those are kind of the things that make me, and I like breakfast, coffee, and a view. I feel like once you get to the stage in your life where the birds and the coffee are the best part of the day, you have reached like a totally fire zone. Like that is an amazing, if that's the part of the day you look forward to the most, like I do think you're crushing it, because I think the simple things, the simple pleasures, I don't know, I think they pay off really well. And that's what she actually argues in the dopamine book that I recommended by Anne Lemke. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but the bestseller Dopamine that I just read, she mentions that the simple pleasures in life that give you positive dopamine are really, really good for you. And that's the perfect way to remain in balance. So that means healthy workouts, nature. See, I really like cracked the code. And I didn't know that I had, but I don't know. I just feel like I want to spend the summer hiking with my friends in nature, exploring. I want to podcast more. I want to YouTube more. I want to create my art a little bit more. I actually haven't felt as creative toward the end of this relationship as I normally do. And that's a sign that I'm not as happy. And I've decided, and I think you guys should try this, is like taking stock of things, taking stocks of signs of when you're happy. What I mean by that is, now that my happiness is kind of returning and my energy and self-esteem is kind of coming back, I'm going, wow, I wasn't really creative with like shoots and things. I kind of felt like that wasn't the front of my mind. That's a sign. It's a sign when I'm tweeting a lot. That's when I'm happier. For some reason, like when my thoughts are free and I'm connecting, that's a sign that I'm happy. If I'm buying new clothes, that means I'm happy. So I'm trying to and if I'm complimentary to other people, I think that's the biggest one. The minute that everybody starts annoying you and everyone's an op and everyone's disappointing and everyone sucks, that is a sign that you're not happy. I see it a lot, and I even started to do it. I'm not a judgmental person, and I don't like to think negatively about people, but I noticed that I was in pain during this relationship, and it would make me think less of other people. And I'm like, oh, that's not me. Like, that's not my personality at all. So, yeah, that has to do with some self-esteem erosion. But, yeah, take stock of, like, signs that you're happy. Because it's important. And it can even be as, even as obvious as, like, are you sleeping this way? Are you having nightmares at night? Are your eating habits, are they indicative of a happy state or a peaceful state? Or can you tell that they've changed during something? A lot of people, just learning that, like, self-awareness, I think, is really, really important. But anyway, I did not mean to be ambitious Barbie all day. But maybe that's what I'm meant to do. Like, maybe I am meant to, like, suffer a little bit and alchemize it and share my tea and share my wisdom. I will say, as a 35-year-old person, I like where I'm at. I'm proud of where I'm at in my life. I'm really excited about the future. I really like where I've been. I like the choice I made. I liked how it's turned out. I mean, I'm looking at you guys in this camera in my big glam mirror with my stacks of books that I love and my little Barbie and the women who inspire me. And I have a photo of 2 goals that I've had all the time, and I've already accomplished them. Like this, I feel happy. Like, and I think it's because I did the work I was supposed to. I learned the lessons that the universe was asking me to learn. And I made the hard choices that sucked in the moment, but benefited me long term. I think that's the definition of discipline. But I have that. And so I'm like, I'm just like, I'm happy where I'm at. And so maybe that's why I'm sharing it, because I really am happy where I'm at. And to be also, this is like really fun tea too. Okay. I was at my girlfriend's birthday party over the weekend. And we cut out. Okay, so my girlfriend turned 35 over the weekend. I was there, and I was catching up with friends, and they're like, what's been going on? I was like, oh, I'm going through a breakup. It didn't work out. I felt like this. And she goes, oh my God. She's like, I bet that must have been really tough, especially because you just had your 35th birthday. And I guess in her head, she meant like, oh, you're getting older. Like, I'm sure you really want to settle down. You're disappointed. But in my head, I was like, I don't think that at all. Like, that is not the forefront of my disappointment. I'm more disappointment that I lost, like, the connection and companionship that I thought I had. But no, I'm not on some weird clock. Like, what the heck? I don't have that weird clock thing. And maybe it's because I'm very conscious of the fact that half of these relationships are not going to work out in the long term, and they're going to be back in the dating pool to start with some baggage, which is going to make dating for them a lot more challenging. I'm also not into that because I have a fulfilled, happy life that I enjoy alone. So even this last relationship, there were a lot of like talks of being married or whatever. And as much as that brought joy, it brought intense fear for me. There was a lot of like, I don't know if I want to give up like my independence, my personal space, my freedom, especially as someone who has an artistic mind. Being with someone, it's really important who you're with, because you don't want to be disturbed energetically. Because if your career and your life relies on your creativity, as mine does, it really matters who you're with. And so I don't know. I was like, I don't feel like that at all, but it's crazy. And that person is actually getting married. And I thought it was interesting because I think she told me, I knew that she and her partner, they both, from what I understand, and I'm sorry to share tea, but I have to for the podcast, they both invested in the ring, like the jewelry, which, by the way, we are modern people. I love that. Everybody do whatever you want to do. Like, but it was interesting that, like, to her, maybe non-traditional is getting married after 35 or in your 40s or your 50s. And I'm not saying it is, but maybe it is. And maybe to me, getting married is like that person pays for the ring. That person, like, we all have really different perspectives, but I will say my perspective on kind of growing up and getting married and all that, I don't think I have a very common view of it. I just don't, it's not the focal point in my life. It is not my primary goal in the world. And truthfully, I think that being in a committed, healthy Now, a committed, healthy, happy relationship with a fantastic person, that's got to be heaven on earth. I do think some people have found that, but I think that's super rare. But I will say, people who are even, people who are in a normal relationship that is committed and like healthy, even though they're not a fantastic person, even if they're just normal, and a single person, I think they're balanced. Like, there are benefits to being single. There are benefits to being in a relationship. Now, I'm looking for I really want the super duper duper fantastic blissful situation where, like, I find you very attractive. I find you interesting. I know I can depend on you as a person. I think you have good moral character. Honestly, if you have the good moral character, like everything else, I'm going to like swoon. Like, I'm going to be really into it. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just do not feel that like need to settle. Maybe it's a settling thing. I don't feel that need to settle. I don't, yeah. Let me just end it. Yeah. I have some creative projects going on that I'm going to share with you over time. I'm just kind of excited to have like my whole brain to myself again. And having a year with like, being in love or whatever, like it takes up mental space, and I do everything with passion, including being in love. So when I'm locked in, I'm very locked in, and I'm just excited to be locked out. Like, I just don't want to be in love right now. That was fun, but it was, it was a good time, but it was a time that I don't know. I'm excited for the summer. I think I'm going to I hope that I have a really uplifting year. I always do think like after, it's always darkest before the dawn. And I do think that, I had a pool of like BS. And so I'm really hoping that, the next phase is positive and uplifting. And I hope that I made the right choices and the universe is impressed with that. And it's like, oh, she is that girl. She is going to walk away. She will not settle. She is who she said she would be from the jump. Let's, deliver for her because she's delivered her life's duty. It really, every night I pray that I'm aligned with my divine purpose. And I know in my heart who I'm supposed to be. It's crazy. I actually visited my mom over the Christmas break, and I found this binder that I had done in high school where I like lined out who I was going to be in life. And I said I was going to maintain my physical health. I said that I was not going to be addicted to substances. I said that I was not going to have more kids than I can handle. I was very adamant about not bringing children into turmoil. I said that I didn't even want to be married until 35 at least. So that was in writing. And I said some other stuff, but I said I'd never be boring. Not be boring was like the first on my list, and then never settle was at the end of my list. So I'm like, okay, this is like she knew who she was going to be from an early age. She was there. I should get that book. I need to bring that binder back. The only thing I could fit in my suitcase at the time was a vintage Barbie, which I've got. I'm going to bring my vintage Barbies back. Like, why are we as millennials and adults not like, they were just going to sit in our closet our whole life? Like, why are we not taking them out? We need to take our Barbies out. This is the era of taking the Barbies out, putting them on display in our adult homes. But now, yeah, so what are we, 30 minutes in? I'll give you a little bit more tea. This is just some other tea. I'm going to say this has nothing to do with anyone. But I will say a recurring theme in my friends and our dating lives and stuff is this kind of, I think a lot of women, at least a lot of us, used to fear being cheated on. Like, oh, he's going to meet another hot girl at the bar, or he'll go to the strip club and flirt with someone XYZ. I think a lot of us are starting to be more concerned with like, is he going to cheat with a man? And there's nothing wrong with bisexuality. There's nothing wrong with, being interested in all genders or all types of people. But, there unfortunately is there's a big situation. There's a lot of people who unfortunately use women and children as cover-ups for something that they are not comfortable sharing in their life. And unfortunately that can be really harmful and damaging to people if you're using and manipulating them. And I think that's something that's coming out as an adult, where I'm realizing I don't know, you kind of don't see it as much in your 20s, but when you're in your 30s, you kind of see how people fare in their 50s or fare in their late 40s, and you kind of start to see, oh, wait, I didn't know that. I didn't know this might have happened. It's just something, it wasn't front of mind at a certain age, and now it's a lot more front of mind. I'll tell you, it was around Christmas. I went to one of my favorite Pilates places, and it's kind of upscale. It's not filled with people because it's a little bit expensive and fancy and fun and kind of hard. And I went there, and because it was maybe the holiday season, I was the only one in the class. So I got this personal training with this Pilates instructor. And so we were chit-chatting because it was just the two of us working out, and it was a really great workout, by the way. But I was like, do you have holiday plans? How's it going for you? And she's like, this is kind of a tough year because this is the first year that I've been divorced from my husband, and we have a daughter, and he has a boyfriend that he found on Grindr, and they've been together, and the family that I built and I thought I was a part of, I dated this man for a decade. It's over, and this is my first holiday like this. And oh my God, I was devastated for her, and I was so like, oh my God, like that's way worse than cheating with the secretary, man. And I'm like, what could be worse than like someone cheating with their nanny or something? And now I don't know, just like that, like the deceit, the being on the dating apps, the like, was this ever real? The like, I was probably never in love with you. This was all of like, just to feel so used and like a tool, like that is so bad. That is so bad. Don't like that. It's unkind, not fun. And there's also a world where you're like, I am having thoughts about other people. I want to see my way out of this marriage. Like that, just divorce. Be respectful. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I think I want to be interested in something else. I need to, like, that's respectful. That's totally fine. Like, no one's gonna be like upset then. But she said he like took photos in their marital bathroom and put them on the app to meet his new boyfriend. Yeah, bro, it's bleak out here. If you are in a decent relationship with a wonderful person, do not listen. Don't go out here. You do not want to be out here in the trenches. It is not that good. But no, I don't know. I don't know. I still feel very positively about dating. I know that there are great people in the world. I really do. And I need to remember that in my mind. I've dated 3 really nice guys, and I literally put that down so I didn't forget. I dated 3 men who I think are nice. Like we definitely fought. We definitely disagreed. We had conflict or whatever, but I never questioned that they weren't, they didn't mean well for me. They had respect for me as a human being. That was kind of, that's like the biggest thing. But, that's only 3 that I can think of. And I've been dating since I was little. So I'm like, that's kind of so I guess the ratio for me would be like, I don't know, 5% of the people I've dated have been genuinely kind. But I don't know how many people I've dated. I've never really counted. It's not that many, but it's more like 1 or 2 a year max. I've never been on a dating app still. Should I try that? Anyway, I don't want this whole podcast to be about dating. There are way more cool things going on in the world and in life. I think it's just front of mind for me, so I'm sharing it here. But the tea, we're going to figure it out together. I want to connect with you guys, and I kind of want to, instead of leaning into a relationship, I really want to lean into my relationship with you all. I think it might be a lot more satisfying, and I'd rather be like here with you. I just feel like as life gets crazier, why not develop a better and closer relationship with you guys instead of like a person that doesn't exist probably. Like, I don't know. That's just kind of the feeling that I'm having. Like, maybe I'm ready to kind of pour maybe these feelings and these personalities and this, what I've got going on into, I don't know, more of this direction. Does that make any sense? Pretty much I need you guys to be there as my internet besties, world besties. But hopefully I can remain in this direction. Hopefully I can keep the flirting at bay and not get swept up into something I really, 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 really do not want to, not even close. So yeah, let's have a summer of fun. My goal today, so I'm actually about to go shoot for my fan site, which is going to take probably a couple hours. So then I'm going to edit this podcast, hopefully get up tomorrow. And I'm going to edit those photos, and I'm going to try to edit the podcast I did 8 weeks ago. It is about kids and my thoughts on kids. I know that's very interesting. People ask me that a lot. So that's why I did that podcast. And I also did that podcast because like half the people I know are having babies. So it's fun. These new feelings and these new, ew, I just spit. That was gross. There are these new feelings and thoughts and perspectives because I've really never been at the age where people around me were having children like quite this much. So at least not in my social circles like they are now. They haven't been in my world. So yeah, tea, fun, dating, kids, ambition. I have some book recommendations, by the way, because I've touched on a couple things during this podcast. I thought I would let you know some of the things I read. I personally believe that knowledge is power, and it's like War 101 is knowing your enemy. And I think for women especially, it's important that we really are aware of what can go on with us. I think we really need to be aware of mental violence, and we think we need to be aware of physical violence, and we need to be just aware of the way people may think, because it is really important to us. Our greatest risk of bodily harm, our greatest risk of, pregnant women's greatest risk of death, things like that. It's really important just to know what we might be dealing with. So one of my favorite books is actually, I think every woman needs to read Why Does He Do That by Lundy Bancroft. It's a book about the minds of angry and controlling men. Very important. This is also interesting if maybe you're the child, even if you're like the son of a dad who might have been that kind of dad who scared the hell out of everyone without really like the person who scared you into behaving a certain way. Very important. I don't know. This book is really, really tea. It's helped me tremendously in life. And there's a follow-up book by the author. It's called Should I Stay or Should I Go? A Guide to Knowing If Your Relationship Can or Should Be Saved. I've always found this one fascinating. It's going to walk you through maybe if you're in a relationship. It's just kind of a great follow-up to Why Does He Do That? I do think if anyone's in a relationship that is challenging, you think it might be destructive, you feel like you might be crazy, you feel like you're really confused, I think that this type of resource is juicy. I always think there's a book, whatever you're going through, there's a book about it. Go pick up the book about it. There's always a book about it. So arm yourself with knowledge. Like they said that stuff to us when we were kids, and I don't think people really heeded that advice. That like knowledge is power. Period. You want to be the most powerful person in the room? Go read the books. So yeah, and they're entertaining. I think they're deeply entertaining because when these things affect you, you're kind of reading through your experience. I find them deeply entertaining. So I highly recommend those. Also, I touched on this podcast about security. So I did read a couple months ago, I read The Gift of Fear by Gavin DeBecker, which is funny. I haven't, like, this has been recommended to me for a long time and I haven't read it, but it's survival signals that protect us from violence. I found it very interesting. I loved that it wasn't really, I thought it would be about like, I don't know. I had this very silly opinion. I assumed it might be like how to use a gun, how to do this. I don't know. It's not about that. It's really about how to use your brain and your intuition to determine when you should be in fear and what to do with that fear and how to calculate that fear, and really why your brain and your intuition are of the utmost importance when it comes to determining and protecting your safety. I really, really enjoyed this book. I also thought it was really interesting. And if you're in any kind of career where you're in the public eye, or if you're around more people than not, or if you're super hot, because that might be a reason, I really recommend reading this. But I think anyone should, if you're interested. I really, really, really liked it. And I really enjoyed his perspectives on women's intuition, because as someone who believes in it, I thought it was amazing that someone, disregarded would appreciate something like a women's intuition. That's how I knew he was on the money. So no, I'm just saying it's a great book. So these are really fun books I've been reading. And yeah, Dopamine Nation. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the next podcast I'll be like, and these are the 3 new ones I read. It'll be like a podcast, sad dating story book club, the works. No, I'm just kidding. I love you guys. I'm going to try to put out the one about what I think about kids. We're just getting to re-know each other on a personal level, because I'm not going anywhere, honey. I'm really excited for these next few chapters, and I'm excited to be with you more and get to know you more. comment to me what you like, what you were thinking about, what you thought about this, what you think about these books, what do you think about life, what do you think about dating. I want to know it all. I've been trying to go through and comment on my YouTube specifically because I'm telling you, I'm like really getting a lot of joy out of it. But let me know what you think. I really appreciate you guys listening to another episode of Eyes Up Here. I love you. Goodbye.